What's going on, champs and champets? It's FireMonkey over here on Rocket Racing, because in today's YouTube video, we have to talk about a whole entire situation of some quests that recently released that you're able to do, which I think are just a painful grind, right? You know, nothing against the quests in general, but I think that they're a needless grind that even though you have like 5 to 6 weeks to do them, should have been halved in the requirements of what you have to do, right? And this all relates to the Rocket Racing Season 0 tune-up quest. As you can see, I've already completed 2 of them, but to kind of talk about what every single one of these quests are, you have to hit 1,000 boost pads, you have to beat 500 other players, meaning at the end of the race, if you came in first place out of a 11-player match, that counts as 10 players beat, or if you're in a race that has 5 people and you come in like third or whatever, that's only 2 players you've actually beaten, so you can't like pass someone up in a car, then go behind them, then pass them up again for it to count like that. It is a lot slower of a progression than you may think, meaning that if you came in first place in a 11-player match, you would have to do that like you'd have to do it like 50 times or something like that in order to get all of the actual players beat for that little like purple or pink smoke they've kind of got going on there. You also have a drift distance of 750,000, and then you have to get a starting line boost of at least 50%, not one time, right? This isn't a, oh, I got 17% out of 50, right? This means you have to get that 50% boost in 50 different games, which is a lot of games to play minimum in order to get these challenges done. Now, luckily, if you are grinding through these solo, what you can do, at least for the start line boost, is boost right at the start of a match, back out after you've done the boost and got the 50%, and then just enter a game, leave the game, enter a game, leave the game over and over and over again to get it done a lot quicker. And then these final 2 are stuff like activating the turbo bonus zones while in a drift 200 times. What a turbo bonus zone is whenever you're boosting, that's a turbo. You know, on the left side where you have a little indicator, it's usually like Y on an Xbox controller or the scroll wheel on PC. It's like, hey, activate a boost. You have to be drifting while activating that boost, and then you have to also be drifting when you activate the little like secondary boost that doesn't require anything when you're already in that momentum, right? You have to do that 200 times for this challenge and then 250 times for this challenge down here, both of which give you this green little boost, or I guess, you know, like drift trail, and a yellow looking one, which we can go ahead and kind of show you guys. There's the little like green one right here, the lime one, and then the saffron one is a little glitchy to where you have to just kind of wait. You have to like enter and leave menus over and over to actually see it in the game. So let's go ahead, wait a moment. It doesn't want to show up. Amazing. Hold on. Let me just switch. There we go. Yeah, you can see a little bit of like the yellow trail there as well. So you have a decent amount of different options available for you whenever you want to actually go ahead and activate these. However, they are very tedious quests, and I genuinely think that even though if we look over here, you have 5 weeks and 1 day to actually complete these, they should have like half the requirements, right? Because like hitting 1,000 boost pads, I would much prefer 500. Beating 500 players, much prefer 250, right? You know, instead of getting a start line boost of at least 50% 50 times, 25 games sounds a lot easier and less grindy than play 50 games minimum of a 11-player lobby where you come in first place, right? Because that's what you basically have to do in order to get this challenge right here completed in the shortest amount of time possible. Now, of course, you could have a private match with like up to 16 people and make it a lot faster, but I don't have a million people to actually invite and go ahead and try doing these challenges with, which is why even though I'm complaining about how these challenges suck, I want to give you guys some advice on how you can go ahead and complete them at your own pace without having to play ranked mode or anything like that and drift all over the place, ruining your rank. So even though ranked racing is available, if you have a private lobby selected here and you select one of these tracks, it still counts. You don't need a creator code, you don't need any of that fancy stuff. You can just go into a private lobby, you can go ahead and select the map you want to play, you can play it, and it will count towards your progress. Now, I've played a few different maps here and there to test out different experiences and what works the best, and I think I found the best way of actually completing all of these. Now, the first tip is actually for a challenge that I've been unable to do as of now, you know, the 427 boost pads, and it comes from someone over on Twitter. What you want to do is go to the advanced tracks, and then you want to find Windy Way right here. You want to select it, you want to go ahead and start playing it, and then you want to go and follow the path I actually take. It's real close to the start of the map, and of course this little track is actually very, very small, so you don't have to worry about messing it up too much or anything. You can always go back, do it again, everything else, but this is a very nice way of doing it. So as you can see right here, 427 boost pads out of 1,000, and once we log in, I'll go ahead and show you guys, you know, there's no other player in the lobby, I didn't enter a creator code or anything, so that you're able to see that, hey, you can do this as well, there's no YouTube YouTube trickery going on here or anything like that, which is why I've also moved my webcam down below, because as you can see right there, I'm the only one in this lobby. Now, of course, you have to wait for the whole entire start and everything, and while we're waiting, I guess one thing I could mention here is that if you do back out of a lobby, so you open up like your friends list and just quit, it does still progress for you, so you don't have to worry about your progress being lost, which I guess is a nice way of actually farming out that 100% boost at the start right there, since you have to hit that 50 times. But once you start off, just keep going forwards, and right when you get to this tunnel, don't go above it. I know some people might want to go above the tunnel, however, if you go below it, you will notice a spot towards the very end where you have 3 boost pads on the bottom and 3 boost pads on the top. Now, it's hard to really angle yourself properly enough here to where you won't get kind of thrown down there to the other side, but you can always turn around and try it again. But what you really want to do is just kind of run around those boost pads like I did right there over and over again, just to get it farmed up, because if you really think about it, each time that you hit all of those boost pads, that counts as 6 progress towards the actual challenge. And then of course you can kind of just slow yourself down and go again if it does throw you off the map, because that will happen a few times here and there, because you know it's not the most easiest and like way of doing this or anything else. You have to actually go ahead and try hitting them over and over, but as long as you continue hitting these, you are going to get a lot of easy progress. Now, as you guys remember, I was at like 427 before we even recorded this small little part of the video. I'm going to go ahead in my friends list, return to lobby, and show you guys that even though I only spent like what, a minute, maybe 2 minutes doing the little loop-de-loop, it progressed pretty far. It might not be like a million progress or anything else, but as you can see, we went from 27 to 50 just from that short amount of time. So even though it is a little bit, you know, tedious, you kind of get thrown off a lot unless you have like perfect angling, it is a nice way to get a lot more of those boosts done quicker without having to worry about just playing the game over and over again. However, this next tip is going to help you out with 3 different challenges. It's going to help you with the turbo bonus zones, the turbo while in a drift, and of course the drift total distance. Now, for this one, what you want to do is actually go to Cliff Render right here, which is another one of those advanced tracks, and you want to mainly ignore 90% of the game, right? Because there's one area where you can just hold down the same few buttons on your keyboard or controller and non-stop drift and drift and drift and drift until your either eyes go sore from seeing yourself spinning over and over again, or until your hands start to hurt. I mean, when I was doing this last night, which is how I got both of those little challenges you saw completed, my hand, my thumb, right, which was sitting here on the actually no, I don't even know if it was the thumb that was sitting there, but one of my fingers that was sitting there on the whole entire drift button actually was a little sore, where I had to like switch hands while doing everything. So, you know, it's a little bit of an interesting thing, but hey, it's better to grind it out this way so you don't have to worry about it in actual matches than it is to go ahead and just slowly do them over actual matches over time, because at least you'll already have the cosmetics unlocked, and we didn't even get the 50% boost there, but who really cares, so that you're able to just kind of enjoy everything else while doing everything, right? So, you know, for the first part of the race, you want to just kind of play it like normal. You can go ahead and play most of this like normal, actually, so you don't really have to worry about too much. And even if you want to farm some of those boosts, you can go up and down the little side slant over and over to get it, but you know, it's not really going to help you too much. And then of course, you know, you can boost around here while drifting for the challenge to get a little bit more progress. But the main key part of all of this happens when you get very close to the end of all of it, because right when you get to the end, you'll find this little tunnel you can actually go through, and inside of that tunnel you can go ahead and non-stop drift inside of there, because you know, it loops you around and everything else, and it will just continue counting all your progress. You'll continue gaining your boost non-stop, and here we are at that spot. So right when you get over here where you get the 2 different areas, you can go either to the left in the mountain or to the right area. You want to go to the right area, right? And when you're in here, all you have to do is start drifting. This is it. Just hold down forwards and one of the sideways directions on your keyboard or on your controller or whatever else, and hold down the drift button. As long as you're doing that, this is what you're going to see. A non-stop drift in a tunnel that goes on forever. And as you're doing this, you continue to actually get the little boost thing, so while you're sitting here in this drift, you can activate the boost as well. Sometimes when you activate the boost, you'll actually go out of the drift mode, so just keep that in mind. You might have to re-enable it every so often, especially if you don't see the little like sparky flames on the side. But this is the best way I've found personally to actually get a lot of the whole entire drifting challenge done. And of course, as you're looping around, you will occasionally find these little boost pads, so this is good not only just for the drift challenges, but you can also get a little bit of the boost progress as well. And I mean, if I even go over here, right, if I jump down off of the building and I kind of go to these boost pads right here, one trick I've kind of found that makes it a little easier if you don't like the whole entire like 6 pad, you know, throwing you off thing, is to kind of just go on these boost pads, let it boost you forwards, then drive backwards, because when you drive backwards, it does activate that forwards boost momentum and gives you the challenge. So right there, even though it just looked like, you know, I hit the boost pads like 4 times, I actually managed to hit them 8 times. And as you can see right here, you can kind of just keep looping around like that. It is a nice area to get a lot of those challenges done, but this tunnel right here is like a godsend, right? You know, it is a really effective area to actually go. I mean, look at this. You can just non-stop drift over and over and over again. If you ever mess up a drift, you can go ahead and just kind of recalculate, you know, fix your car up so you're in a better spot, so you don't get like shot out the tunnel or anything. And there's no sort of like death barrier or anything you're going to hit in here, right? So you're able to literally just go in circles and circles and circles and circles over and over and over again. It does get pretty boring. I will admit, you know, this is something that if you're someone who isn't going to be sidetracked by watching TikTok or listening to music, you might not want to do, because it's just going to be this for like 10, 20, 30 minutes, however long you actually plan to do it for. But it is a nicer way of just getting the challenges done if you're someone who doesn't really care about rocket racing and you just want to have these things completed. But I would love to hear in the comments down below, what do you think about these challenges? Do you think they should have like half the progress requirements or anything else? Or do you think since it requires, you know, 6 weeks of playtime, that it makes sense? It's like, hey, you know, these are some very long-winded rewards that you get later down the line. Personally, for me, I think that since they're just different colored versions of that normal, you know, drift smoke that you guys saw earlier, I don't really like them, right? I don't even know what happened to my drift smoke. It's just completely gone. But it's like we have item shop versions, we have versions of Rocket League cosmetics that'll be coming to Rocket Racing that replaces that category as well. So why would I want to waste my time here going ahead over and over and over again, just, you know, trying to do these challenges for different colored basic smokes, when I'll be able to get special smokes later down the line that have like star patterns or something very fancy on them. I don't know, it just feels like the requirements for the reward, especially considering what we know is coming to the game in the future, just makes it very, very not worth it. But until next time, I hope champs and champions enjoyed today's YouTube video. Hope it gave you some advice on how to complete these challenges even quicker. And now that we've gone ahead and drifted through all that stuff, I'm going to return to the lobby and show you that, yeah, it does give you a pretty decent amount of progress here. I can't show all of it because we already had the boost line thing done or whatever else, but the total distance drifted should have a decent amount. As you can see right here, we're now at 704,000 out of 750,000, so by playing that match maybe 1 to 2 more times, I can go ahead and complete this easily. And as you can see as here with the whole entire boost pads as well, I didn't get like 25 to, I didn't get like 50 progress or whatever else, but I did go from like 450, 460 to 479, which I do think is a pretty decent boost. We're not actually playing in a serious setting. Until next time though, I hope champs and champions enjoyed today's YouTube video. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, and peace out.